Alright, so today we're going to talk a little bit about how to make or compensate for certain types of kerf by cutting only parts of a square out. For example, let's say you had a perfect kerf width or relatively perfect kerf width here, here, and here. And you notice the kerf width along this line is actually slightly bigger than the rest of them, and part of that's just because of the plasma cutter itself having one side of that blade that is less accurate than the rest of it. How can we compensate for that? Well, one way is by making a shape like this. Let's say we wanted to preserve this square and make a square. Now we know that when it cuts down this line like this, it's an accurate kerf, but when it cuts up the line like this, it isn't because of the shape of the blade. So we want it to actually come down this way. An easy way to do that is, of course, to make a separate vector that represents a line. Now, one of the things we have to consider when making this is that on open vectors, which is what these are, it's not technically a shape because these corners aren't connected, the kerf width is actually going to be on both sides of this line. So as opposed to my finger being on the outside of this line, just on the outside, like an outside offset, the plasma cutter is actually going to ride on the line and cut through, and giving you an uneven kerf width on either side of this screen. So you're going to have a little bit less material here and here on both sides, as opposed to an outside offset, which would just be on this side of the material. So you have to compensate for that in your design. So what you do is you actually say that it's this inaccuracy is half the width of the kerf. Now that we have this line made, and once we have our polygon, or our fake shape here, so we have the three sides here that are cutting great, and then let's go ahead and move this piece in closer. Bam. All right, there we go. There she's sitting there. We have our piece. We're going to go ahead and file save that. Boom. All right, let's go ahead and open up Sheet Cam for our good selves here. All right. Now on Sheet Cam, when I go to make this file, you're going to notice that it actually has two separate pierce points. It's going to make cut number 1 and then go through and make cut number 2. And that's just by choosing the outside offset on here. It's not actually going to be an outside offset because it is an open vector. So we make these cuts here, and you'll have this edge as well as this edge here, just the way that you want it. So this is just a simple way to make one side of your shape more accurate kerf-wise with the CAD. So there is a simple way to do it. Again, you can make this even more complicated, but this is about as simple as it gets for making this particular type of cut, adjusting the kerf on one side by having it go the same direction as this side here. In either case, give that a shot and we'll go from there.